In this video, I'm going to talk about designing a keyboard for a computer. In this particular case, I'm designing a keyboard for my latest project, which is a ColecoVision compatible computer. Now, ColecoVision consoles didn't need a keyboard, but this computer is going to be also ZX81 compatible, which is why I need a keyboard like this, which has the ZX81 logos behind. But also there's other options that are available, and I'll go through all the options that you can have. I'll talk about the background illumination as well and how to set that up, and considerations you need when laying out a PCB for the background illumination, because there's certain things which you need to consider. And also then I'll talk about the keys and the keycaps and the options that are available for each particular key that you have on the keyboard. So this is a keyboard where you can have background illuminated keycaps, and I've got a little adjuster over here where I can change the level of the illumination on the keys. And the circuit for doing the illumination is just a transistor, a diode and a resistor. And so the alternative to that would be to have a resistor on every LED, which would be on this particular keyboard 40 resistors. So that would be a lot more to solder on there. And also you wouldn't get the ability to adjust the illumination level as well if you had just the resistors. So this is a keyboard where you can have your own legends placed behind these little transparent covers. But because the black background in here is particularly opaque, you can't have background illuminated switches for this. And you can also get the white options for the keys as well. And I'm using these because I'm going to have a ZX81 option for my computer. And what I've also done on my design is these 6mm buttons switches. I've put those to the left hand side of the bigger cherry type key switches, so that I can build a keyboard like this, which is really cheap to make, and I can use this as my development keyboard. So as I'm developing my computer and things getting knocked around a bit and whatever, I'm not going to damage the key. I don't have to worry about damaging the keys. And also I can develop my background illumination with the circuit there on this keyboard as well. So these are keycaps that I'm using, and when you buy a set you get something like 104 keys, and most of them seem to be background illuminated types where you have the legends, which is transparent, and the light shines through from the back of where the key is. And also I'm using these particular ones which you can put a legend under the key itself. So if I just take the top off of this one, so you would put a printed legend under there, then put the transparent bit on top. And all of these I got off of eBay. So I got a set of, I think it's about 104 keycaps like this, where you've got all of the control keys and everything, all the different types you have. I'm only using a subset of them myself. And for 104 keycaps, I think it was about £7. You can get them as cheap as. And these ones, I can't remember what price these were, but they probably weren't much. They came in sets of 10, but it was a while ago since I purchased those, but they were relatively cheap as well. The key switches come in various types as well, so you can get like silent ones and clicky ones, and you can get this kind of sample block on eBay, and it comes with different types of keys, and they're basically color coded, and the color coding stands for how much the spring rating is in the key, so how hard you have to push it to actually make contact, and whether or not they have clicks. So they come with quite decent quality keys on there, but I buy cheap keys and they tend to come in red, just the red or blue option. So there's the blue option there, which is a clicky, and the red option, which is non-clicky. And these cheap keys you usually get about 120 if you search hard for them on eBay. 120 for about £17 is what I last purchased them at. So you can make a relatively cheap keyboard using those cheap ones. Just a quick note on the quality of the keys. So like I say, these ones on the sample pad are quite good quality, and they don't have any twist in them, so I can't actually twist these around. There's a little bit of twist, but not much. Whereas the cheap ones which I use, they're quite loose on the tops where they can twist. That doesn't bother me, but it depends on exactly what kind of quality keyboard you want. I mean, I haven't made use of these keys yet, but they should be decent enough to get some good use out of them. They certainly feel good to me. So there's a few optional extras you can have as well to go along with the keys. So there's these O-rings. So there's a thick one and a thinner one, and they go on the actual stems of the keys. So on the back of the keys there's these circular stems, and you just place that on there, and that helps that when you push the key down, it just dampens it and it makes it a bit more silent when you push the key. And also you can get these gasket type thing pads which go on the PCB, so they're sticky, and you just peel one off and then you put it over the pad like that before you put the switch on the keyboard, and then you put the key on the switch, and that dampens the sound down as well. I actually quite like using both of those options, and I think it does make a difference. It makes it a much nicer feel of the keyboard myself, but of course you don't need to use them, so they're just optional. These come in a pack of about 120 for about £6, and these rubber O-rings come in packs of 120 as well for around £6 as well. So there's a little bit extra cost in building a keyboard if you want to do that. And these keypads also come in various different types. Now I use the Poron, the P-O-R-O-N type, and I've only ever bought those, and that seems like a decent material enough for me, and so I'm happy with it. So I haven't tried any of the other types. There's also PU, EVA and PE. They can be slightly different in cost, and I don't know what the different qualities of those different materials are. There's also a couple of different types of tool that you can get to actually remove the keys from the keyboard. I've got both of these types, but I don't tend to use this one because it's not very good on these keys. The other type of keys it's okay on, but it's a little bit kind of stiff and firm, so I find it a bit awkward to use that. So I tend to use this tool, which is a lot better, and it works on these keys as well as the other keys, and it makes it a lot easier to actually pull the keycaps off. So there's a few things to consider if you want to illuminate your keycaps. The first is that if you see here that the actual legend is at the top of the key, and you actually put the LED in here at the top, so this needs to be the top of your key, and the pins need to be at the bottom. Now in KiCad, when you place the keys on the actual design, they seem to be placed that way around at the minute in the particular version of KiCad that I have. So you need to make sure that you place them in the correct orientation, so the LED goes in the slot at the top, the pins go at the bottom. So you can see on my PCB I've got the LED up there and the two pins down there for where the key goes. There's another consideration, is that the LED itself, if I can get in close enough and focus, there's a flat edge on the LED just there. Now on these particular keys it doesn't matter, there's a little cutout there where even if you don't align the flat edge with that part of the key, the key will still, the LED will still fit in the actual key itself when you place it against the PCB. But on these higher quality ones there's no cutout there, so you need to make sure you line up the flat of the LED with the key there, otherwise it won't fit flat on the actual PCB itself. So that needs to go down that way in order for that to fit. Oops. Like that. And of course another consideration is deciding what colour illumination you want, because LEDs come in various different colours like that. Actually putting it behind a keycap and deciding what kind of colour of illumination you want to have. It probably won't show up very good on camera, but just use a coin cell battery just to light up an LED, and then you can try out different colours. That one doesn't show up very well on camera. Oh, a little bit. And the blue, some LEDs take more voltage than others. So the blue LEDs take a bit more voltage than the other ones, and also you can get ultra bright LEDs, and you can get standard level LEDs. So it's worth testing those out before you start building the keyboard as well. So this is the circuit I use to illuminate the LEDs on the keyboard, and it's just basically a transistor which is in a mode called voltage following mode, and that's when you have the load on the emitter side of the transistor, and it tends to just whatever voltage you put on the base, it tends to follow that. So what I've got is a 3.3 volt Zener diode. Now the actual value here that you need will depend on the type of LEDs you're driving, because different LEDs require different voltages to drive, and different intensities of LEDs require different voltages as well. And there is a little bit of a voltage drop as well, so I'm driving these at about 2 volts, and that's what this tends to allow when the potentiometer here, which is for the intensity, is all the way over to the right, so this is not having any effect on the circuit, so it's full intensity. I'm getting about 2 volts out here, and then this as this potentiometer is adjusted, it reduces the amount of current going into the transistor, so it actually reduces the amount of current coming out, and so the voltage as well. And this diode up here is just so that I can't connect the actual circuit backwards on 5 volts, because I've got an unpolarized connector here just for cheapness, so I get a little bit of a voltage drop over here as well, and that means that the transistor doesn't get quite as hot as it would, because it's got less of a voltage to actually regulate.